Hello, everybody. My name is Daniel Hamid, as you may know, and in this episode, we're going to talk about the Lebanese Civil War that lasted 15 years from 1975 till 1990. It was very complicated, and nobody knows about what was the war. Maybe I'm not the best person to talk about it, but I have some information and I have some puzzles that I did, so I have some information. In this war, there weren't any good and bad guys. The war began in 1975 and it was started between the Christian militia and the Palestinians that didn't have any rights in Lebanon and they were trying to have some rights. So the war escalated when the Lebanese Phalangist forces, Kataib, Kataib attacked and killed 27 Palestinian civils in the bus. At the beginning of the war, the majority of Lebanon were Muslims back, Sunni, Shia, and a little bit of Druze were standing with Palestinians. And at the beginning of the war, the first phase from 1975 till 1976, the Palestinians were winning the war. Why? They had the power, they had the weapons, they didn't have anything to lose. They were fighting for their rights. They used to fight with Israel, so they had weapons. And on the other hand, the Christians were wealthy, they didn't care anything like about the war. They cared more about themselves. So at the beginning of the war, they took places like Trablus, which is Sunni, Sur, that is mostly Shia. And at the beginning, they were winning, which is in fact very strange. So the Christians had two options to talk with Tel Aviv or with Damascus. So at the beginning, they faced the Dimashq, so they started talking with Syria. Syria back then was a place of dictatorship, and it was it was Hafiz al-Assad who was the president of Syria, and Syria, thinking about that control, they wanted to control the ports in Lebanon. However, they controlled some ports in Latakia, but still, Syria was a dictatorship place and it didn't have many ideas how to contact with the West. And Lebanon was and still is a plan for Syria because it's an option to contact with the West to make more money. So at the beginning, the Syrians were helping the Christians, and the Palestinians started losing the war and the control. And the Palestinians starting doing some attacks on civils and taking some money from them, stealing. They started doing some checkpoints on the road. You have a weapon, so you can go stand on the street and take some money. But still, when the Syrians entered the war, there was some clashes between the Christians. I'm gonna talk about the Jmail family, not the Jmail, sorry, the Jaja and Frangi family. The Frangi were pro-Syrians, while the Jaja was anti-Syrian. So in the village of Sharra, the Jaja killed almost whole family of Frangiya. Only two people were left alive. And this is the picture of Jaja back in the war. However, in 78, the Israeli came and started occupying the south of Lebanon, where the Palestinians used to raid Israel and attack them. So they came, made a little bit of the buffer zone between the Lebanon and Israel, and they left. However, in the future, in 1982, the Christians start feeling the Syrian occupation, and they turned out and called Tel Aviv in. So Israel didn't think even a year they attacked Lebanon, and when they entered, they occupied most of the south, as we can know, as we can think, and we know. And when they entered, while, as we say in Poland, where two people fight, the third is the winner. So when they entered, they occupied the south easily, mostly Shia villages. The Christians were allied with the Israelis, while the Syrians were mostly with the Muslims. However, Israel also occupied a little bit of the Bekaa Valley, which is Shia. However, from the 1982, the the war in Lebanon started becoming the religion war. The Christians were with the Israeli, and the Syrians were mostly with the Muslim. However, the Shia felt more likely liked Syria more than Lebanese, because let's remember that Ala Bashar al-Assad clan is Alawite, and Alawites are most likely similar to the Shias. However, in 1982, the big leader of the Christian militia and former president of Lebanon was murdered. Bashir Gemayel was murdered by a car bomb. And the same year, the Christian militias backed the Israeli force, made massacres in the camps of Sabra and Shatila, killing more than 2,000 children, children, women, and men. However, seeing that the Syrians were more likely liked by Shia and they liked Shia more helping them, the Sunni started being anti-Syrian, and back then the Tawhid party was made. Tawhids mean one God, one religion, I believe, and one thing, and it's the finger in your right hand showing the sky, showing that's the one word, God. Today, when we say Tawhid, it's more like that we think about the terrorists, but it's not real. That's another thing. In 1983, the Amal movement started being weak. The Shia power starting losing. So, like in Europe, the Bolshevik revolution wanted to spread across the world. Was the same in the Middle East. The Islamic revolution that was in Iran in 1980 was starting to support Shias in Lebanon. In 1982, a new power in the political scene came. The Hezbollah came to the power, and they started fighting the Israel in the south. However, the Hezbollah was supported by by Iran, and Amal movement was supported by the Al-Assad clans in Syria. But let's remember that both of them were Christians and Muslims, I mean Shia. And in 1988, there's the clashes between those two started, escalated. It was very brutal clashes. Many people died. Many people stopped fighting because they said it was like killing a brother because both of them were the same religion, both believed the same way, and all of them had the same right. However, by 1990, when the Taif Agreement was signed, that we can say that Muslims won because the seat was 6 to 6, 50-50. So now, of 128 seats, 64 were Muslims and 64 were Christians. The Shia got their place in the government. Everybody was happy, but still, Let's not forget that the Palestinians left Lebanon in 1982 and Israel stayed and were fighting. They destroyed South Beirut and Northern Beirut. In 1990, they retreated to the south of Lebanon, where they stayed till 2000, and today was the 20th anniversary of the liberation of the south. However, many Hezbollah was still fighting against the Israel in the south. They still was fighting for 10 years, and successfully in 2000, the Hezbollah was like Israel said, let's leave Lebanon. We have enough of Hezbollah. But was it like Hezbollah's victory? I think we can say yes, because were still attacking Israel nonstop, helping the people of South get liberated. Furthermore, after the war, let's forget that after the war, many Christian leaders that caused massacres were taken prisoners by Syrian and were put in the Syrian jails. Aoun was the last one to flee away to France. He ran away by French embassy. In 2000, also the leader of Syria died, Bashar Hafiz al-Assad. But in 2005, Prime Minister of Lebanon, Saad Hariri, was assassinated. And from there, many people said that it was Syria who did it and Hezbollah. But on March 8, 2005, there was demonstration of 500,000 people supporting the state of Syria. However, 1 week later, on March 14th, there was again another big anti-Syrian demonstrations in Lebanon that had about 1 million people, 2 times more than March 8th alliance. So Syria left Lebanon, and it was the liberation. It was the second independence of Lebanon, as we say it in Lebanon, because Lebanon was free again, and many political leaders, Christian leaders, came back from the France, and they were free from Syrian jails, like Jumblat that came in 2016, six. I mean, sorry. Lebanon, Hezbollah raided Israel and was they wanted to take 3 hostages and wanted to do a trade between Israel and Hezbollah. However, Israel took it as the declaration of war, and the 2006 war or second Lebanese war started. However, in this war, Israel didn't achieve what it did. Uh, By surprise, Hezbollah was very strong, and indeed it held Israel on the border for 33 days. It fired missiles, about 300 missiles every day, showing that it has power and has missiles. Even the Iron Drone that was Israelis, it didn't make its job. However, we can say that the war, both countries said that they won the war, but on the other hand, in my opinion, Hezbollah won the war. Why? Because they held the Israel, who used to take countries bigger than Israel 10 times, and it surprised everybody. However, there's some people saying that Hezbollah showed the superiority of it to other Arabic leaders. For example, we remember that in 1967 Six-Day Wars, that Israel took the Sinai, Golan Heights, and West Bank. So nobody could defeat Israel, but Hezbollah did it. In 2018, there was another escalation in Lebanon between the Shia, Druze, and Sunni in Tripolis on the north, between Alawites and Sunni. Finally, in 2011, the Syrian civil war began, and Hezbollah joined the war officially in 2013. But most of people knew that in 2011 they joined the war against the revolutionary people in Syria. Thank you for your attention. See you next time.